P24 RETV ਦੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੋਸਟ ਪੌਲ ਚੀਮਾ। ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਜੁੜਨਗੇ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਸੂਰਾ ਜੀ। ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੇਜ 'ਤੇ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰਾਈ ਜਾਏਗੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ। ਸਾਡੇ ਉਹ ਬੜੇ ਹੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਅਤੇ ਅੱਛੇ ਕੋ ਹੋਸਟ ਨੇ। ਬੜਾ ਚੰਗਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ, ਦਿਲ ਖੁਸ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ। ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਰੂਬਰੂ ਕਰਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਆਪਣਾ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਅਕਸਰ ਹੀ ਲੋਕ ਭੁੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਭਾਈ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੈਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ। ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਹੋਰ ਐਕਸਪੈਂਡ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਹੋਮ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਕਿ ਹੋਮ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ-ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਧਿਆਨ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਵਾਲੀ। ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਆ ਕਿ ਟਾਈਟਲ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ। ਟਾਈਟਲ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਈ ਲੋਕ ਪਰਵਾਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ। ਉਹ ਉਦੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰਟੀ ਕੈਸ਼ ਪਰਚੇਜ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਲੈਂਡਰ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਜਵਾਬਦੇਹ ਹੈਗਾ। ਪਰ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਜੀ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਪਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਵਾਂਗ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਨਮ ਦਿਨ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਐਨੀਵਰਸਰੀ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਨਵਜਨਮੇ ਸ਼ਿਸ਼ੂ ਦੀਆਂ ਕਿਲਕਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੂੰਜੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਲੋਜ਼ਿੰਗ ਕਰਾ ਲਈ ਹੈ, ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ ਹੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਇਨਕਮ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਕਟ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਢੁਕਵੀਂ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਜੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਛੋਟਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਬਣਾਇਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਫਿਊਚਰ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਭਾਲ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ। ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਮੁਬਾਰਕਬਾਦ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਜੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ, ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਗੈਸਟਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਅਤੇ ਆਫਕੋਰਸ ਸਾਡੇ ਚੈਨਲ ਵੱਲੋਂ। ਖੁਸ਼ ਰਹੋ, ਆਬਾਦ ਰਹੋ, ਵਧੀਆ ਰਹੋ। ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਦੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਭੇਜੀ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਪਾਵਰ ਆਫ ਵਰਡਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ। ਸਪੋਕਨ ਵਰਡਸ ਕੈਨ ਮੇਕ ਔਰ ਕੈਨ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਅ ਲਾਈਫ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਘਰ ਗਏ ਐਂਡ ਹੀ ਸਾ ਹਿਸ son was scribbling on the wall. He says, I told him, if he does it again, he will get punishment. The next time he saw his son, he was still doing the same thing, but now the son was looking into the eyes and was not scared, because people don't like to be threatened. So this person has to think over, how can I fix it? Then a few days later, he saw him scribbling again, and he said, he doesn't look nice on you. You are a grown-up big boy. After that day, to maintain his big boy status, this guy stopped writing or scribbling on the wall. See how simple change of language makes a great impact. So I guess you watch your words when you utter them, because that can make or break someone's life. That was my inspirational thought for the day. I hope you take it as a golden nugget and apply in your life. Let's bring our guest Amrit Sura, or co-host I would rather call him, on our stage. Welcome, Mr. Sura. How are you?
Very well, sir. How are you doing?
Life is great. Starbucks delivered this coffee at my house.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of delivery, right? So the things that we get used to for convenience is unimaginable. I mean, back when I was working in India and the Middle East, the corner shops where the chai boys were, the chai boys knew, at 6:30 a.m. they need to deliver my tea or coffee, whatever it was at that point, right? So modern convenience is here. We have Skip. Over there we have Bitu.
Absolutely. My life is I am always doing things at the last minute. Today it was a few minutes before I quickly ran upstairs and made myself a cup of tea. And then I just jumped in here. I said, oh my God, this is getting too late. But here I am. It is fabulous that I get to run my show on time every day, unless there is a technical issue. Because sometimes this Mr. Camera, he gets angry with me and doesn't work as I want it. So how is the market in BC, my friend?
Surprisingly, we're seeing, on the odd occasion, we're seeing multiple offers.
Hmm. That's
So,
something happening here as well. So when
mm,
you say multiple offers, how do you see those houses are priced in the beginning? Were they overpriced? Sorry, were they underpriced or way underpriced?
well, I wouldn't say necessarily underpriced, way underpriced. I think what ends up happening is even the buyers,
Hmm.
uh, through their, own investigations, they look into what the BC assessment assesses the property and the land at, and then most people have some kind of idea on what the future holds for that specific area, and
Hmm.
then they do their calculation based on that, and then put it on the market, a lot less than an assessment price or recent sold price. There's just lack of inventory at the present time.
Hmm.
So, you know, are
Well,
we
that's
seeing?
true. Lack of inventory, but what about people getting the mortgage approvals?
So I think for the most part, the people that are pulling the trigger and getting out there to buy, they have the additional cash for the down payment. So
Hmm.
they're not necessarily struggling.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe it's a lateral move, or maybe it's a upsize. But some people who have been um, wise with their decisions, they've put away money that's going to help serve them to get a great deal. Are they getting
yeah.
approved? Maybe the size of their deposit or their down payment increases, and then they make those factors work, right?
I can't believe the same thing is happening here as well. Some properties they even received 15 to 20 offers, and I couldn't believe when I saw those things happening. The market is not set for this as yet. So sometime I think maybe those houses are way underpriced, or maybe some
Hmm.
houses, uh, you know, what do you call estate sales. People think they can grab property at a low price. Maybe that's what is going
Right.
on. But as per the statistics and analysis and this and that, it seems like people don't have money to pay for mortgages anymore. Many people will just have to sell their houses within 8 to 10 months. So we may see an uptick in the inventory just because
Hmm.
we cannot live in those houses, and this is kind of scary because so many people are going to be homeless.
Well, let's hope and pray that it doesn't get to that stage. I mean, from any indication or dialogue that I've had with some of the bankers at RBC,
Hmm.
a lot of them are indicating that maybe it's 8 or 9 months out that the people are, um, uh, people get notified there might be a power of sale. But that would be if somebody's in arrears,
Hmm.
in a massive way, right? So um, we don't know. I mean, there might be some significant changes in the next 6 months that could help
Yes,
people recover, right?
statistics that we received from, we see that there were 55% less less sales in Vancouver. That is a very big number from last year, 55%, and Toronto was about 45%. That's a big drop in the sales. So I really fail to understand. You know what? There may be certain pockets which are extremely preferred, and maybe these people do not need a mortgage approval, or they need only a small fraction of the mortgage. Maybe this is something like that. In Ottawa, we have 16% uptick in the new listings alone, and 89% from the previous month. That's a lot of listings. So how come this multiple offer picture in? I fail to understand it. Maybe time will clarify how the things are moving and who these buyers are. During pandemic,
Right.
20 to 30% buyers were investors. They just cashed out, bought today, 3 months down the lane, sold it at a way higher price. You know, this was the market going on during that period.
Yeah. So there's going to be some restrictions on flipping as well.
They are
So
all in
that
place
might
now.
impact the impact on the investors will
Yeah,
be quite
we already see
substantial.
that it's here. It is already here.
Right.
Yeah, the impact. Let's see how these things play out. How
Hmm.
much taxes people have to pay when they flip a house. I think there will still be some flips, and if people can make more money, then they are going to pay in taxes, while some people will just go ahead with it. Do you hear any
Yeah.
hissing sound from my side?
Hissing?
Yeah.
No. Do you hear it from my side?
I don't know. I hear like I can hear some water running somewhere. Maybe uh, your
Water running.
yeah, kind of sound like that. But anyways, that's okay. It's acceptable.
Has
So
that
we,
improved?
hmm?
Has it stopped
Yeah,
now?
better,
Okay.
better. So
I had a
there are certain
fan running in the back.
expenses, Amrit, which people don't factor when they buy their house. So I
Yeah.
touched upon that subject yesterday. Some people do not understand that the price they offered on a property is subject to adjustment. And adjustments could be as high as $7,000 to $10,000.
Hmm.
For example, you buy a house in February, and that homeowner has paid the entire year's property tax, and if the property tax is $6,000, so and there are 10 months remaining in the year, and someone is closing on 1st of March, then they are looking at $5,000 to credit to the seller. That's on top of purchase price.
Right.
Or it could be, if it is 6 months down the lane, then $2,500. Sorry, $3,000, right? They have to be paid
Correct.
to the seller. And people, when they buy, the first time home buyers, they are never told about these things. Nobody talks about adjustment. It is this one silly clause on Schedule A in the offer that says the buyer agrees to pay balance of purchase price subject to adjustments on the day of completion. The little subject to adjustments. So these guys, they find money from every nook and corner of their house. And when they go to lawyer and lawyer says, no, 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 you need to bring me 8,000 more or 3,000 more, which they don't have at the last minute. I have seen some people struggle to find even $2,000 to close the deal. Have you ever come across such issues?
So yeah, no, well, not no. We make sure that the guys have got, you know, at least more than enough money, whether they're paying property transfer tax plus the insurance adjustment, right? So because in the contract there's a possession and then possession and adjustments date, right? So
Yeah.
when you discuss with them what are those dates, well, completion date is when the title transfers, and the
Well,
possession and
everyone
adjustment dates is
understands that.
when, right.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, there's been no issues on adjustments.
Okay. But I have seen some people cry out loud and swearing at their agent, swearing at the lawyer, and getting frustrated and saying, I'm going to not close this deal today. And I also have seen some people borrow additional $3,000 and the interest was more than double. So they agreed to pay $7,000 for that $3,000 down the lane. So this is where some people make money off such people. But it is a good idea to understand that there are always adjustments. And like Amrit said, provision for at least 7 to 10 grants in addition to your closing cost. You never know what may come up. There is a moving cost, there is some cost related to purchases you are going to do later on. You won't be moving into an empty house. You will need to buy stuff, or you will be sleeping on the floors if your furniture is not up to the mark for this property. So
Mm.
moving is a big expense. If you decide to move by yourself, make sure you do not break your back, because saving $2,000 and staying in the hospital forever and living off disability for a few months is not the right thing. So the movers understand how to move and lift the heavy stuff. So I see many people struggling with the big items such as fridges, TVs, couches, assembled beds, and then they have some back problem. But they think they saved enough money. That's okay. It happens. If you get more time to move in, like if the closing is, let's say, on a week before your actual closing where you're living is going to happen, so you have 1 week time frame. You can slowly move things. You take one item today, 3 items tomorrow, like that. But if you're moving on the same day, it's going to be very aggressive, very, very tough.
It is very emotional as well, right? So better to employ a mover who has the capability and the manpower to do something of such a task,
Yeah.
because
So
they have the vans, they have the carts.
yeah, so budget for
Um,
those things. Don't ever think, oh, you know what, I can save on $2,000. This is not the right approach. So try to have enough margin that all these little expenses that are going to show up, some will be adjustments, some will be necessary expenses. And then comes smaller expenses such as title insurance and home insurance. Well, home
mhm.
insurance can range from 100 to maybe $200, depends upon the house and coverage and so many factors. So if we take a ballpark number, let's say $150 for this, and then title insurance could be 450, 500, again depends who is the title insurer and what thing it covers. Those two items alone can be $600, $700 on top. Make sure you have that provision. Know this is going to come and are ready for it. So why take title insurance? There is really no need to take a title insurance. But if you are borrowing funds, your lender will not send the funds unless you provide him with A, the home insurance binder, and B, the title insurance. He's not going to close it. He doesn't care. He needs those two things, and that goes as a part of the package where it says the lawyer who is closing has to provide the lender with a copy of the insurance binder and the title insurance from this and this insurer. If they don't receive it, they don't close it. And there are two kinds of coverages when it comes to title. One, that is for the borrowers, the homeowners, and the second, that is only for the lender. So two different policies are there. The lender will love to have a policy that protects his investment into your property, but you are paying for it. And title insurance is, I would say, extremely necessary, even though it's not mandatory. But the lenders will not let you close. So then it becomes kind of mandatory, right, Amrit?
Mm-hmm.
I see some
So,
people won't even take insurance, saying that this is a cash purchase. But what if the house catches fire the next day?
that's a big risk to take, right?
Big risk to take,
So,
and they don't care about title insurance. And title insurance, I will repeat again, I said this in my yesterday's episode, but it covers for all the unknown title defects, such as those defects that prevent you from taking the possession of the property. There may be certain instances where you cannot close. Maybe city steps in. They suddenly found a lien which wasn't available when the lawyer ran a check. Something
mm-hmm.
comes up, you will not be able to close it. And title insurance makes sure you are protected. And they also offer you kind of gap insurance. If there is some issues between closing and I think there is a terminology, there is a little gap between closing and the day of closing, some time, it covers any defects at that time as well. I will expand that later on after I find this information. Existing liens against the property. The previous owner had unpaid debts which were secured against the property, but they didn't show up. Let's say someone is selling their house and today they took a loan and the lender didn't know that they are selling the house. The loan
Mm-hmm.
won't show up maybe in a few days. It may take 5, 10, 15 days to show up on the title. And then you
Right.
already have the property, right? Or the seller just buys something which he didn't pay, like a contractor's lien on the property. It may be there. So I have seen sometimes people have borrowed monies and they have signed paperwork that the lender can put a lien, but the lender is too lazy to go through the process. So when he puts the lien, it's too late and doesn't show up on the title. When your lawyer is closing, the title search date, it doesn't show up at that
Right.
time. Then it is protecting your best interest. So title insurance will kick in and they will pay. Any damages, anything. Let's say there is a structure in the house that you purchase, and this encroaches upon your neighbor's property line.
Mm-hmm.
It was never found out, but suddenly the neighbors got alerted, and then you have to remove that encroachment. But it wasn't your fault. You took the property as is, and the seller decamped with all the money and is not available now. Now, the title insurance will help you make sure your property conforms to the bylaws and is not encroaching on anybody else's property. So this is what title insurance does. Amrit, I know an instance where one of my clients purchased a property in Etobicoke, and a few days later they were served a notice by the city of Toronto saying their carport was not as per zoning bylaws, that the
Oh,
structure was
wow.
weak, it could crumble, and this this is not built as per structural guidelines, whatever they were. And that cost him around $12,000, $15,000. But his lawyer advised him to talk to insurer, the title insurer, and they made sure this structure was built as per the latest guidelines, and they were surveyed by the city officials, and they got cleared it up.
So yeah, a lot of people don't understand to what extent the title insurance would really help them, right? So I
Yeah.
think that's a great thing. I mean, if they've gone and paid for this protection, it's quite important, because the seller must disclose if there's anything which is, you know, which is not satisfactory to the municipality. Um, During the due diligence stage, you try and make sure you reach out to the city to make check all those boxes. But again, if they don't show up at the time of title transfer, then who gets to foot the bill?
No news is a good news, right? Sometimes that
Yeah,
may not be a good news.
no,
Sometimes that may be the worst news ever. So I
the
I talked about my own experience. Like I own a semi, and when I moved in, there were two driveways. One, the main driveway that goes to the car garage, and I can park one car outside, one car inside, and then there was the soft scaping. Previous sellers, or maybe sellers previous to them, they took off the soft scaping and they asphalted it. So they
oh,
were
wow,
using this as additional driveway. There are two driveway, one up, one low, right?
yeah,
So 16 years into the ownership, I get a notice one day from city of Mississauga saying my driveway is in contravention of the code, that this property is only supposed to have a single car garage and cannot have two staggered driveways.
hmm,
And I tried to fight with them, but they said no. I said, well, it's been 16 years. I purchased it, and I purchased it the way it is. They didn't
hmm,
agree. They said, we don't care, sir. You have to do the soft scaping, and that's it, period. I took estimates because it needed excavation. If you level it out, because the
hmm,
city said, I think 4.3 meters maximum if you want two driveways. Otherwise, you have to restrict to the single driveway. So they said you have to
right,
excavate it, and then excavators were charging way too much money, or many weren't even responding because for them it was a small job. They want to bring their equipment just for a small job for a few hours.
yeah,
So, and the estimate that we were getting were touching around $30,000. I said it's small work. I felt like I should
wow.
take that spade and do it myself.
You should have just put some astroturf on it.
No, but I have to lower the, the upper level parking to level up with the lower level park.
Oh,
I
wow.
still needed two part, like double driveway. My
Hmm.
cars parked there. I have three cars. So where do I park the third car? So then suddenly I got reminded about my title insurance. I had totally forgotten about it.
Hmm.
I called them up and they said they will restore it to single driveway the way the property was supposed to. They will restore the legal description of the property. And I was up in fight with them. I said, no, I bought this house because it could park two cars out. And that defeats my purpose. And they said, no, you try to rent it. So that was a lucrative deal for you because you wanted extra parking for your tenant. I said, no, that was not the case. I never rented it. You check all the listings.
Hmm.
They couldn't find any lease listing. And they eventually, I said, I want to speak to the higher ups. So I had a discussion, and finally they agreed to allow me a double driveway, 2-car driveway. And then when I sent them code, they saw it was too high. They have their own contract. See how the nexus is between city,
Yeah.
contractors, and insurers. So they got it
Mm-hmm.
done for free, and the work this guy did was amazing work. They leveled it out, they widened up, whatever cost was paid by the title insurance directly to the contractor, and they got it approved from the city, and everything is fine. So
So
how much I
you
paid? Maybe $250 in 2006 for title insurance, and when did it pay back to me? In maybe 2020 or sometime later.
so it's just one time that you paid.
You always pay one time. The title insurance is a one-time payment, but it's not a mandatory. So whenever people
Mm-hmm.
take title insurance, they must speak with their lawyer and ask them that the policy, the title insurance policy they are suggesting or they're purchasing from this and this insurer, what does it cover? It's really important to have a lengthy conversation with your lawyer to find out the benefit of the title insurance you are getting. Do not sign blindly. I know people are busy, they have to go to work, and they just keep putting their Johnny Hancocks on pieces of paper. But that's not the right way to do it. You have to stop, you have to ask, and we are going to talk more about title insurance. Stay tuned. We'll come back after this little break. Are you looking for a reliable legal office that can handle your closing in the most effective manner? If yes, please get in touch with Rakesh Joshi at 416-213-8600. Joshi Law Office provides all the legal advices about real estate law, business law, immigration laws, notarization and affidavits, wills and trust. Give them a call today, 416-213-8600. Are you looking for reliable immigration services? If yes, contact Sukhi Paul at 647-296-4575 or office phone number 905-790-8877. They are located at 219-220 at 7956 Torban Road. It's right at the intersection of Torban Road and Steeles Avenue West. Contact them for all kind of visa services. Are you the breadwinner for your family? Have you ever considered if something were to happen to you, what would happen to your wife, to your children, to your parents? If not, this is the time to call Kamaljeet Bola at 647-772-1481. She is an amazing insurance advisor working with Beyond Care Insurance Solutions in Brampton, Ontario. Find out what best you can do your family while you can. Do not put this thing off till tomorrow. This could be very, very critical for your family's future. Are you thinking of a career change or adding another one to your portfolio? Well, you are thinking right. Call Sarabjit Luddar at 416-879-3039 from Beyond Care Insurance Solutions. She also deals in life, long-term, travel, critical illness, disability insurance. Give her a call today at 416-879-3039. This is what we can tell you. She will always give you the right advice and help you find out if being an insurance advisor is your piece of cake. Are you thinking to sell your home and are concerned about depreciating values? Don't be. You are in safe hands with Paul Chima. Call me at 647-333-2273. I ensure safety of your home with electronic lock boxes. Nobody can enter your house without permission from our brokerage, and we provide full detail if needed at any point in time. Once again, Paul Chima, 647-333-2273. Better call Paul and get moving. Do you want to shop right without burning your pockets? If yes, please visit Monisha Discount Warehouse at 377 Burnhamthorpe Road, East Mississauga, Ontario. They are the best. They have all kind of Indian, Pakistani and other local stuff that you can buy at literally throwaway prices. Contact them at 905-361-0773. Monisha Discount Warehouse. D.P. Jain is a well-known name in the fields of accounting. You can contact him today at his cell number 416-305-0080 or his office number 905-790-9327. Once you start working with him, you will never want to leave him. He is 5-star professional. Call him today. D.P. Jain Professional Corporation. PC24 RE-TV is heard over so many different channels. If you want to promote your business for free, call me at 647-333-2273. You can also send your artwork to contact@paulchima.com. We are here to be partners in your business success. 647-333-2273. ਇਸ 24 ਆਰ ਟੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਟਾਈਟਲ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਮੁਤਲਕ ਕਿ ਟਾਈਟਲ ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹਦੇ ਕੀ ਫਾਇਦੇ ਹੈ, ਕੀ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਹੈ। ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨੁਕਸਾਨ ਤੇ ਇਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ, ਸਿਰਫ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਹੀ ਫਾਇਦਾ। ਤੇ ਉਹ ਫਾਇਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਇੰਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਬਹੁਤੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਪੇ ਵੀ ਕਰਨੇ ਪੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਆਈ ਡੋਂਟ ਥਿੰਕ ਯੂ ਸ਼ੁੱਡ ਹੈਜ਼ਿਟੇਟ or you should even think twice before taking a title insurance policy. Sometimes it is mandated, sometimes it is not. So ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੋਨ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਪੱਕਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੈਣੀ ਪੈਣੀ। ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਹ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਲਿੱਤੀ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਲੋਜ਼ਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ, ਪਰ then it raises so many questions. Same with the home insurance. People take it along with the closing or they may take it after the closing. But whenever it goes after the closing, the insurer may raise their eyebrows and would like to take more into the property. Why you did not purchase it at that time? So one of the biggest advantage of the title insurance is that it protects you from what is called a title fraud. Recently, there were many news articles in the papers, online and offline, where it was highlighted that some people went away on a vacation, some homeowner, and this was somewhere between February and May or even August of 2020 during pandemic. So when those people came back, they figured out someone else was living in their property. So how did that happen? Someone stole their ID information, created fake IDs, opened separate bank accounts, listed on realtor.ca or the public MLS system, and then just decamped away with tons of cash. And who was on the hook? The current sellers, because they were supposed to be the borrowers. This has happened. So there were many cases where people were taken advantage of by these unscrupulous people who stole their ID, stole their houses right under their watch. So it is really important you understand the title fraud. So whenever you are subjected to a title fraud, title insurance will cover you, or I would say, to be on the safer side, may cover you. You need to understand what it covers. So that's when I said you should talk to your lawyer about the title insurance and take a brochure, read it if you can, or call him 2 days before closing and ask him, who do you think we are getting this title insurance from and what is covered? Not on the day of signing, because it is overwhelming and lawyers have to do maybe 30 closing that day. They may not be as forthcoming as they would be earlier. So do your homework, find out who is doing it. So title fraud, if you are a victim of title fraud, there is an organization where you will file your claim, and that is called Land Titles Assurance Fund, LTAF. You can Google it up, you can find out the claim process, how you can get your money or how you can try to get out of the whole situation. The house is gone, someone else is living there, and I am not sure the courts will evict those persons because they bought the house seriously thinking that they are dealing with the homeowners. Right, Amrit?
Yeah, I mean, it's first and foremost the identity theft. You got to be really careful. Maybe one thing to really do with current homeowners is, um, invest in a shredder, right? So any of your pertinent information isn't getting out, and then get yourself a virus on your computer as well, because these fraudsters really do. They make a job out of.
Yeah,
They make a job out of committing fraud all the time. So, and then take the additional step, ask the right questions before you go in for closing signing, and know and understand what the title insurance is going to cost and the benefits of it. So I think the benefits outweigh,
the small cost. It is
exactly.
extremely beneficial to have a title insurance. There's no reason not to have it, even if there's no lender. What can
Hmm.
happen? Like they are more prominent on houses which have no mortgage on them
Right.
because there is no barrier.
Exactly.
All they need to do is just fake IDs. They don't have to go see a bank or communicate with them because that may raise suspicion. So, 3 people were caught recently in Toronto when they went to take the proceed after committing a title fraud. So the bank got suspicious. They called enforcement and they came, they were arrested and figured out that they sold a house that doesn't belong to them and they were about to run away with all the cash. They went there to withdraw it.
My Lord. Well, thank heavens
Yes,
there were certain triggers, right?
yeah, but the house was sold. It was a condominium in Toronto. So I
Hmm.
don't think the owners will get that back. You cannot reverse a transaction. The title was registered, right? And it was registered as being authentic transaction. Buyers are not at fault in these cases. Just understand that. I don't even know. I have never come across any case where you can just claim your property back, saying I didn't do it. They don't care. The bank doesn't care. Bank's going to give you a hard time because lien is registered against the property, right? And
Right.
you signed it apparently. Apparently you signed it. So like Amrit said, invest maybe $100 in a good shredder. There are shredders of different rating. There are cross-cut. There are some guidelines, military grade shredding and all those things. You know, the little pieces, small rectangular pieces they cut, you can never assemble them. There
Hmm.
are shredders that just cut longitudinally, like long noodle type paper comes out after it passes through the shredder. Those can be reassembled, those documents. They can still read your information. But if it is cross cut, so it goes lengthwise, it goes widthwise, and those little pieces, how small those pieces are determines its strength. It's kind of encryption technology,
Right.
right? How
And then
fine you can cut it.
also, a good antivirus on your computer is.
Good antivirus. So don't ever do any bank transactions if you don't have any antivirus. You spend maybe $2,000 on a computer,
Hmm.
right? And the antivirus
Easily.
will not cost you a fortune. It's maybe less than $100. Even for
Right.
5 computers, you can buy a great deal. And don't try to have antiviruses with cracks. They are available on many websites. But don't do that. Crack itself may be a virus.
Yeah, and don't click any links on your mobile phone. I mean, everyone's phones are hooked up to their banking, right? So, um, however attractive it might seem, do not click those links.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely
you know,
not.
avoiding any title fraud is the main aspect of this great show. But there's certain certain preparations along the line that you must employ
Yeah,
to make
absolutely.
sure that you're not affected in any kind of fraud.
This is your responsibility, none else's
100%.
responsibility, right? So if you won't
Yeah.
do it, you won't be protected. Simple as that, period. Nothing said more or less than this. So one thing that title insurance doesn't cover, and which may be very important, is if your spouse gets angry with you and breaks your leg. That is not covered under title insurance.
Yeah,
So
that's
behave well when you are at home. So other thing that title insurance doesn't cover, and this goes into the home insurance component, most of them, damages due to flooding. This is when you need home insurance, not title insurance. Fire or sewer back, not part of title insurance, part of home insurance. General wear and tear of your home. So you want to replace old windows, don't call title insurance.
hmm
They won't pay a dime, right? Or you need
no.
to fix a leaky roof, don't do it. But if the leaky roof causes damage to your neighbors, that may be covered under title insurance. But they will not cover your roof, right? If your
Mhm.
house catches fire and neighbor's house gets affected, neighbor's house is also protected under your title insurance. In townhouses, when a fire breaks out in one townhome and it affects 4 or 5 townhomes in the surrounding, not only it covers their losses, it also pays them daily allowance to stay in a hotel or till they are able to come back. There are some limitations to that. All those things. Otherwise, your pocket, it will go deep into the ground, paying those people. So I
hmm
had an accident and someone claimed $200,000 in compensation from me. It's ongoing case. And I didn't even hit the guy. He hit me. He wasn't looking at where he's going, and he was a cyclist, unfortunately. He had coffee in his one hand, and he was blind from one eye. It was the stone eye in the, I think, in the left eye. Yeah, in the left
Wow.
eye. And he was drinking some beverage from Tim Hortons, I guess, brownish liquid, maybe cappuccino. And he was driving like crazy and hit right on the door of my passenger seat, and they claimed
So,
200,000. So I called insurance company. They said, "Don't worry, your coverage is $1 million, and this is nothing. We are still fighting it." So basically, insurances are there for very good reason. So when you
hmm
have an insurance and something happens to your neighbors, your title or sorry, home insurance will kick in. No title. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. Home insurance policy will cover the damages to your neighbors, not the title insurance. Sorry, I got into the wrong domain. So I stand corrected. So if there is a theft in your house, title insurance doesn't do anything. It's not their provision. Other losses or damages due to non title issues. It's all to the title. And what is title? The legal status of the property. If it is
Right.
not related to legal status of the property, it is not covered under title insurance. So simple. Rule of thumb, right?
Yeah, it is a very important point. I mean, you have to pay insurances. I mean, you have health insurance for coverages, right?
Yes.
Some people have that for their medications. So do the same for your house, right? Some people even take pet insurance, $9 a month.
Yeah. Have
Um,
it.
mm,
Yeah. So there policies are of many types. Policies for new homeowners, policies for existing homeowners, policies for residential mortgages for the lender, policies for individuals purchasing commercial properties, policies for lenders in commercial property. There are all kind of things here, and they have different coverages for different kinds of property. You really need to get into that, and this whole discussion goes way beyond the scope of this talk show. But residential title insurance is what we are talking about, and it has three different coverages. One is comprehensive, one is gap coverage, the one I said in the beginning, and survey coverage. So gap is between the time your property purchase is finalized, home closing, and the time your title is registered in Ontario. There is a gap in between. So your property closes today, but it may not be registered on title right away. It may take a few days. So during those gaps, this policy covers you. This is how title insurance works. So that was gap insurance. I had slightly gone confused with it, but here is the clarification. When your lawyer closes, to when it gets registered on the title is what the gap insurance is. This title insurance covers that, and it also provides a comprehensive coverage. That means against losses related to property title only, period. Property title, legal status, ownership of the property. That's it. If it is violating some zoning bylaws, the title insurance will fix that for you. If any structure is encroaching on your neighbors or city's line, they will fix it for you. But they won't fix your leaking roof. That will come
mhm,
to home insurance,
right.
right? So, and then there is a legal coverage as well. So they will pay for most legal expenses if you are sued, if it is related to title, and they will save you time and money. So you don't have to look around. Like in my case, I don't have to hire a lawyer. Whatever notice comes to me, I just send it over to my claims department, and they take it over from there. I don't even have to do
Hmm.
any damn thing there. So this is how you work with it and fight when you close. That's all I wanted to say in today's broadcast. I have a good news to share with you, Amrit. Look
Great.
at this.
That's flight. Right.
Yeah,
And that his
it
or
is
her
slightly bigger
shirt
than
has.
I thought. I will reset it.
Wow. So you're doing your private pilot's license?
I have downloaded Microsoft Flight Simulator,
Oh
and I
wow.
got my first ever joystick.
Uh-huh.
It is LG's 3D, an amazing thing. It rotates either ways. It bends like this. It goes forward and backwards. So I can control, and there is a accelerator function right here. It increases decreases the speed of it. So I
Wow.
think this is how it is. This little thing, right? So
That's
this is
awesome.
so addictive game. I love flying. You know that, right? I use
Yes.
drone to see the world from top. But handling a plane, it is so realistic, Amrit. I can't even express that joy I have playing this game. I have played more than 60 hours by now.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow. That is amazing.
Yes, today I was playing in the morning and I couldn't find header to the airport.
Mm,
So I now understand how the runways run. Like you will see runway 3 on one side, 21 on the other side. That is annotated as 3-21.
okay.
So that means if I take off towards 21, my direction is 210 degrees on the dial, on the compass.
Okay.
But
Right.
I cannot come back the same place because now it's going to take me away from the runway. To come
Mm-hmm.
back on the same runway, I have to go to the 3 side. I have to set my heading of the plane in such a way that I come to 3.
Oh, wow.
So it is 30 degrees. 3 is 30 degrees, 21 is 210 degrees.
Right.
Right? These are north, south, east, west. 190 is south, and 270 comes between south and west coordinate. So then I need to see, okay, so now I have to come to 30 degrees, which is probably, I think, east side. So I have to make all the full round to face that heading and then lower my landing gears and land on the runway.
Wow.
This is so realistic game. Oh my
Uh-huh.
God, I am thrilled that I bought it. My first ever game on computer.
You should just enroll to do your license. If that, if you have great
I
interest.
can, but I was telling my daughter, we are still in the broadcast. I just want this to have a fine, common, easy session right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling my daughter this morning that if something happens to my pilot, I can actually land the plane for him. Like I have that much confidence now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can
That's
actually fly
amazing.
a plane. Like it may not be as smooth as a commercial pilot,
Uh-huh.
but if there is an emergency and nobody can handle it, I am the one to handle it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I will just jump in. Hey, let me control the plane for you. So cool. So one must have a hobby, and my hobby is only flying and photography, of course. They go hand in hand with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. You get a good overview of the cities and your surrounding areas.
Yeah,
It
I
really,
would try to find
yeah.
out how can I share or live stream this game. I have no idea yet, but I'm going to do that. And one of my clients suggested I should buy a VR version, and then I
Hmm.
can actually fly in the space.
Amazing.
It's so cool. Pilot Paul Chima, PPC,
Yeah. PPC.
pay per click.
Yeah.
But anyways, I
Yeah.
hope this session was informative, except for the last part that we just chatted about certain things not related to real estate. But I'm so passionate talking about them. I love
Hmm.
flying. I have new, passion, and this gives me immense pleasure and removes all my stress. This is stress buster for me. But anyways, time to call it a day. And before I leave, I and Amrit and all the team on for RTV sends their condolences to the families of those who have lost a beloved. May they rest in peace, and you get strength to overcome this vacuum in your life. Well, tomorrow my show will be from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Thursday, a busy day for me. That's why the time is from 8 to 9 a.m. And then we restore on Friday from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Be well, be happy, be charming, be least arguing, and making fellow human beings happy. That should be your motto. Why for? Last words, Amrit?
Yes, just as Mr. Chima said, get out there and really engross yourself in trying to enjoy each and every day.
Awesome. Take good care of yourself, guys. Bye bye. See you tomorrow at 8
Bye.
a.m.